Hello, Mom and Dad Meet World. So we are talking about the MacBook Air. We're talking about the MacBook Air 15 and the MacBook Air 13 and how it compares as an add-on to this guy back here. What you see back here is the MacBook Pro 16. This is the M4 Pro MacBook Pro 16-inch. So what we've got here, so we've got a couple different ones right here. You've got first over here, this is the smaller one. This is the MacBook Air 13-inch. So this is the M2 model. Yes, this is the M2 model, base model, 16 gigs of memory, 256 gigs of storage. And then you've got this model right here. This is the M3 Air. This is a 15-inch, so 24 gigs of RAM and then 512 gigs of storage on this guy right here. So let us make a case here for the MacBook Air. We've got the MacBook Air 13 right here, and the MacBook Air 13 is a very compact travel machine. I've got it right here. It is small, it is lightweight. It is also in a case right here. I do gotta say I will be swapping out this case because I don't know if you can see this right here, but this case does not want to fully close because it is so tight on the lid that it does not want to clamp close right here on the sides, and it leaves just a tad little bit of a gap here. So I will be getting another case. It's a little bit more flexible, should I say. But yeah, the 13-inch has been very good. Portability is really the key to the 13-inch MacBook Air, and I think that is one very big strength that the 13 does have over the 15 is that portability. And because I am just sitting right here on a very tight work area, I can get some stuff done just like a airplane and that tight tray table on the airplane. I think I can do so with this right here in any tight spaces. What we are sacrificing here is a little bit of that workspace right here because the desktop is a smaller area. Physically, it's smaller than it is on the 15, but that's okay. I'm willing to work with that. As far as like the power goes, the power has been very good. Been able to edit everything with Final Cut. I just made a short 6-minute video and it was able to play back. I was able to edit without issue, no problem. And I was able to export that 6-minute video in just a little over 2 minutes and 40 seconds, 2 minutes and 44, 2:45-ish, if I'm to be exact. And it was very good, no issues whatsoever. And I did not even have to hook up an external drive to this, which was even better. I mean, what else can I say about this computer? It's been a very good mix between power and portability, and it's a nice little differentiator between the 16 because the 16 is a bigger machine and it's just not as friendly to take around with you, especially on a plane, where this comes in very handy. The case for the 15-inch MacBook Air, it is very similar, although it is a lot lighter, it is a lot thinner, as you can see here. If you could take a look at this side profile, it is nice and thin. It is very thin, and it's been quite a good computer, but hopefully we're not going to block the whole camera here doing that. But what I want to show you with the 15, so the 15, you don't really make that big of a sacrifice when it comes to the screen real estate because this is a big immersive screen right here. You can see this. This is one big screen, almost exactly the same as the 16. You don't give up that extra row of icons on the bottom. You can have the icons set up from your 16 to your 15. And with this being the much more powerful, well, I'm not going to say more powerful, it's going to be the more spec'd out. So M3 chip versus the M2 chip, and then you've got 24 gigs of memory over 16, and then 24 gigs of memory, same amount of memory also on the other 16-inch MacBook Pro, but then you've also got 512 gigs of storage, which is going to be the same 512 gigs of storage also on this computer. So both computers, same memory, same storage. One's the M4 Pro, should I say, and then this one is the M3 MacBook Air. You're obviously going to have more GPU cores, more power in general with the M4 Pro. However, but in everyday use, the MacBook Air 15, the M2, and even the M4, they feel very, very much very similar to each other. With video editing and Final Cut Pro, it feels identical to the M2 MacBook Air. M3 MacBook Air, again, they feel very, very identical. The only spot where I'm going to really give the M4 Pro a little bit more of an advantage is that export time. Export time is a tad little bit quicker. Again, 25 seconds quicker than the M3 Air, M2 Air. But I do gotta say, as far as like portability goes, this one, when I do get the case on here, I gotta say that the portability has got to go to the M2 13-inch MacBook Air, and ultimately that will be the computer I will be keeping, just because it does have the same or similar, I will say similar performance, similar enough to where I can't tell a big difference between the two. And then also the big differentiating factor is going to be the form factor, where this, the 15-inch M3 MacBook Air, it does feel a lot and does take about the same amount of table real estate that the 16-inch M4 takes up, but the 13-inch is just much more compact and it is much more lighter, so taking it with you, it's not going to be a big thing whatsoever. If you are looking for just one computer to rule them all, this is almost darn near perfect. If it had an SD card reader built in, I would say this would be the perfect all-in-one computer for just about everybody, because it has the size with the big screen. Although it's very, very thin, I can see and make a case for this being just as portable, although you will have a little bit of a hard time getting it on a tray table. And I will say that with just about any computer that's even like 14, 15, 16 inch in screen real estate, that 13 is just that little bit of a differentiating factor to where it's that compact to where getting it on an airplane tray table, you won't have any problem. But again, if you're looking for one computer to rule them all, power, performance, portability, it really would have to be the Air. I am not looking for one computer to rule them all. I do like having the bigger 16-inch and having that extra power, and I do want to have that extra portability in the 13. All right, Mom and Dad Meet World. So a couple things I want to point out here. So first of all, if you take a look over here, we have got the settings put up here, and you can see the screensavers are up here, but you could tell right down here, this goes down past Earth and goes all the way down to shuffle aerials. And then on this one right here, the 13, you can only see it only goes down towards Earth. And that's that extra row of icons, so extra screen real estate obviously on the 15 as opposed to the 13. And then the other thing too, and that's because the battery life is lower on this one right here. This is gonna have just a little bit less battery life, and you can see one's at 70, one's at 37%. But the thing is I've been doing some video editing on this one right here. So the 13 has gotten a little bit more use, or quite a bit more use over the 15. But yeah, it's just got a smaller battery, smaller chassis. And with it having an M2 as opposed to an M3, it's not going to be as energy efficient between the two. But they're still going to be very, very similar in battery life between the 15 over here and the 13. So not too bad overall, but I just want to point that out with the battery life, that even though we're still sipping more power here, they're both going to be just as efficient and definitely good for an 8-hour or so workday or a long flight. That is why for right now, for this point in time, I know the M4 Airs are going to be coming out right around the corner, but for this point in time, the 15-inch M3 MacBook Air will be going back, and I will be sticking with, the M2 MacBook Air, unless of course the M4 Air comes out sometime soon, and it's just got some sort of feature, something I want, where it's just going to tip the edge and go, it's worth that extra few $100s to justify going, upgrading from say the M2 Air to the M4 Air, hypothetically, theoretically, if there is one made, if there is one that comes out. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, you know what to do. Like, share, comment, subscribe. It all helps out our channel. And until next time, thanks for watching. Bye for now.